Okay, so this is about what you guys should have. We load in some variables. We got our for loop running. We got our grass tiling the background. We have our castles. We have our player. He's always blidded at 100, 100. And then we have our, when we run it, this is all we see. So our guy doesn't move. Our bunny doesn't move. Nothing happens. But if I click the red X, the program dies. So I know some of the people who are online, I forgot to upload the video on Tuesday, so you may not have this. So what I'd recommend is go to the student resources folder. Every time I run this, it gets saved. So you guys will have exactly what I have here. That means you will have to change this, the file locations. But if you open the code from the internet that I'm running, and you just copy and paste this, you shouldn't have to do anything like that. Just don't overwrite this, because if you copy and paste the whole file, you have to rename these. But if you just copy from running down, you'll be okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to start with some variables, because the whole thing, our whole game, the way everything works is we have variables that represent ideas or things. So the first thing is we need a variable that represents whether or not our character is moving up, down, left, and right. And then we also need variables for their position. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do player underscore up equals false. What do you guys think that means?
He's not going up.
He's not going up, that's all it is. And when it's true, he's moving, that's it. So we're going to do the same thing with player underscore down is false. Player underscore left is false. Player underscore right is false. Now normally in the game we would use a list for this, but when I had students complain, and this was actually easier for me to remember everything. So instead of using a list, we're just doing this. Then we have a player underscore X is and a player underscore Y is. What do you guys think these two things are? Coordinates of the player, and we're going to start at 100, 100. This is the spawning point of your character. Now you can, one thing you can do for your game is you can have spawn points. So instead of always, if you die, you reappear. And you can have those be randomized. So you can have a random location. So like you can spawn at 100, 100, 100, 500, 500, 500, or 500, 100. Right? So those four locations, basically the four corners of the map, you can spawn at any one of those. And it's random. Or you could have random.ran int from 0, and that's to 100 to 500, and this would just be a random pixel. You would just have two random pixels selected, and boom, or one random pixel selected along the X and Y axis, and that's where your guy would spawn. So every single time you spawn, you're anywhere on the map. You could be anywhere. I don't necessarily recommend that. Because in video games you tend not to spawn anywhere on a map. You have spawn locations, because who can think of an issue that would arise if you spawned anywhere on a map at any given time? Cole?
If you had an obstacle that was like you can't move through or anything, you just spawn.
Exactly. You could spawn inside of a box, and you just have your torso, and you're like, I can't move. You could also spawn next to another person as they're running. So you could spawn into another player. Yeah, Cole?
I mean, have you ever put the Call of Duty ship in before? That happens all the time, and that's like a professional game.
Well, so
Well, it's because of chaos.
it's the chaos and the size of the map.
Yeah.
So if you only have 16 spawn points and you have 8 people running around, like it's a 1 in 5, it's a 1 in 2 chance that someone's going to be near you. And what I would assume they do is how I would do it is you'd have spawn points, and if no one is near us, if no bad guy is within this area of the spawn point that was randomly selected, spawn them there. If someone is there, move to the next one. And if for every spawn point there's someone within X amount of pixels or whatever, X amount of distance. Pick the spawn point with the fewest or the fewest number of people the closest. So if every spawn point has within 10 feet of the spawn point a bad guy, which one of the spawn points is the bad guy furthest from? Like, is there a spawn point where a guy is 9.9 feet away and a spawn point where a guy is 2 feet away? We'll go with the spawn point that's 9.9 feet away. Does everyone have this? Okay. Now what we're going to do, this loop deals with what? Pygame.event.get. Deals with what? Yeah, that is how you quit the X. This is the pipeline of inputs. As I'm typing stuff in, this loop is going through it. Anything I type in, it loops through. So this right here is our quit. Well, the next thing we're going to input, we need to code for, is keys going down. So we're going to have this same if event.type. Again, copying and pasting, not because we're lazy, but because we're yes. If event.type.pygame equal key down. What do you think that's checking? Incorrect, Asher. If the key is pressed. If a key, is that what you said, Cole? Oh, I didn't hear you. Yeah, that's correct. If a key is pushed down, and then because we got into a little bit of confusion with some students last hour, we're going to do this same thing and key up. So now everything we're going to, so what we're going to type now is if event.key, so if the key equal capital K underscore lowercase w. Now, you guys all remember, oh, wait a sec. Capital K underscore lowercase w. What do you guys think that represents? The W key. Yep. And so every key on your keyboard actually has a code associated with it. So if you want the colon or semicolon or escape, so if you want to code in, listen, if you type in escape spacebar exclamation point, which I don't know, I think you'd have to use shift, you win the game, cheat code. That's a gameplay element, by the way. It has to be slightly more than that, but everything in here, K underscore O, K underscore S, all these are capital. Now notice we have numbers here, K1, K underscore 1. That is the 1 above the keyboard up here. Okay?
Not the keypad?
Not the keypad. The keypad has its own code. So if you want to do the 1 on the keypad, where is it? I think I scrolled past it. You'd have to do K underscore KP1. Because there's a difference. Because you can buy just keypads over here for a laptop if you're doing like a lot of number crunching. But to the computer, you have to differentiate between 1 and 1. Well, what's the difference between 1 and 1? One's over here and one's over here. One's on the keypad, one's on the keyboard. So you can also, so this is how you would do up, down, left, right. So you would do everything we're doing right now, but instead of K underscore W, you'd put K underscore up. And that would allow, that's how you do multiplayer right there. You just code in the same things we're doing with WASD, and you do it with the left stick. Or the thingies over here, the up, down, left, right. So this website, pygame.org, very, 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 very useful for your game. Like, so many uses. All you do, if you just go pygame image rotate. How do I do that? Oh look, Pygame.transform. What does this do?
So
Pygame.transform.flip, scale, rotate. I click there. All right, so I rotate the surface, which is our image, right? Which would be what? If we're talking about our dude running around.
player.
Player, that's the variable that represents the image. So we would have player there, comma, whatever angle we wanted to rotate. So 90 would be, so if he's facing to the right, for you guys, 90 degrees would be
Which way? Are we talking
up.
Or down.
Or down?
No, it'd be up. Because if you wanted to do down, you'd do 270 or negative, I think. So you do 90 to look up, and that's how we use this to rotate our guy to follow our mouse. So this website, super awesome. Highly recommend it. So KW, so what direction are we traveling when we hit W? Up. So we're going to go player underscore up equal true. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do elif event.key equal K, capital K underscore A. Is that it? Yeah, A. If we're hitting A, what direction are we going, Kevin? Well, when we use WASD, which way do we go when we hit A? Left. So we're going to go player underscore left equal true.
Would it be false if you type in false like that?
Not yet.
Oh, yeah.
We do eventually have to change something to false, but why? If we left it true, what would happen? Our guy would never stop running. We'd hit one direction, he would just go off screen forever and ever and ever until we kill the code. So we do have to code a false, just not yet. So now I don't want to keep typing this in. I don't want to elif event.key blah 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 blah. I'm efficient, not lazy. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it twice.
Hey.
Now the only things I have to do is I need to change A to S and to D, and then change player left to player up or player down and player right. So I'm changing this A to S and this A to D, and then this left to down, and then this left to right.
Does it matter for our game in which order we do this, or it doesn't matter since it's all that?
It doesn't matter for your game, but it matters if I need to debug it. So I would prefer if it's exactly like this, because I know this order, and it's easier for me to find mistakes.
What if I don't want you to find it?
Well, then I guess you don't want my help much.
Can you in Python can you make a variable and then call it above where you made it?
If it's in a function, but typically no.
Or something, because don't some languages have that?
I don't know. All right, you guys all got that? Okay. Now, again, I'm lazy. I'm not lazy. I'm efficient. So what I'm going to do, I need to, if we have key down, and when keys are down, we're moving, what happens when things are up?
All those become false.
All of these become false. So all I have to do
It's copy paste.
is copy, paste, and change these to false. Whew! That was tiring. That was a lot of coding we just did. We're almost done. We're almost done. Once you guys have that, I want you guys to do a thumb to the side.
Which hand?
I don't care. Cool. Guys online? Okay. Okay. You good, Kevin? All right. Now again, you guys don't have to run it, but currently our code, everything we've typed has resulted in a whole lot of nothing changing. Nothing is changing that we can see. A lot of stuff is changing behind the scenes. Just nothing that we can see. So now we've told the code what to do behind the scenes. Now we need to code it to actually show the guy moving. So what we're going to do is currently anything that is typed far to the left is outside of our game. It's not a part of our loop. So what we need to do is to make sure that what we type in is one indent in. Only one. If you have it 2 indents in, it won't work. Well, it won't work correctly. And if you have it 0 indented, you won't see any change. If it's 2 indented, 2 indents in, you'll see change, but it'll be itchy.
Wait, why?
Not a single smile. Jeez, you guys.
I'm fine.
What? I can see by your eyes, Cole. I can tell when you're smiling.
Alright, am I smiling right now? Yes.
Whatever you're doing, do the opposite, and I'll tell you. You didn't change.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you.
No, I seriously did. I was smiling and then I stopped smiling.
Yeah, and I can tell because you're smiling, and then you stop. Your eyes squint a little bit, or your ears move. One of the two.
Or you have such a fake smile that
You have such a fake smile that even though you're smiling, your eyes are dead.
that would be very unfortunate for you. Yeah,
Hi.
I don't like that.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That's probably really creepy. Okay. Last little bit. We gotta do the visual part so we can see our guy move. So what we're gonna do is if our character is moving, what determines whether or not a character should move right now?
Nothing does.
Incorrect.
The keys.
The keys, which are it's these guys right here.
Wait, the player doesn't have a variable yet.
Hang on, just
Nothing
stop
does.
getting ahead of me. Stop getting ahead of me.
No, use.
Stop getting ahead of me. I know exactly what you're gonna say. At least I might.
Why does nothing's changing its position? I don't know what.
That's what we need to code the change in position right now.
You told me I was wrong when I said nothing.
No, but things are changing in the background.
Okay, you said the position, but whatever.
The position of our character is not changing.
Because we have to update it, right?
The thing that makes that change works.
All right.
Because you can't just code movement. You have to say what causes him to move, and when that button is pushed, how much does he move? We've coded that button is pushed. How to determine whether or not the button's been pushed. Now we need to code when that button is pushed, how much is he moving? So that's exactly what we're doing. So if, oopsies, don't erase code. So if player up equals true, equal true. If player up equal true. When our character is moving up, are we moving in the Y or X direction?
Why?
Okay, is it positive or negative? Incorrect.
It gets negative.
It becomes negative. So top left, remember, top left of our game is 0, 0.
All right.
So no matter where we are, if we are going closer up or to the left, we are decreasing in value. Right? You guys get that with X, right? If we go to the left, X gets lower. It's flipped with Y because the top left of our game is 0, 0. So if we're going closer to the top, our Y is actually decreasing. So what we need to do is we need to do player underscore Y minus equal 5.
I have a question. Where did we ever? Can you scroll to the top? Okay, I forgot to put down the variable.
Yeah, it's just player X and player Y. This just so, again, so you guys know this 100, 100 is the spawn point of our character. So this is also, okay, so let me get through part of this, and then, so this right here, this speed, this 5 is the player speed. You can change this. So if you want your character to move faster, this is per, remember, so the way to think of it, per cycle, it's moving 5 pixels. Your code will cycle through about 20 to 30 times a second. So he's moving 150 pixels a second. So he'll cross our screen in 3 or 4 seconds, depending on how fast your computer's running. If you are printing stuff while running your game will run slower, because it's taking a lot of processing power to display the information as opposed to just running it and not displaying anything. If you want power-ups, you want more and more variables. You don't want just this. So, for example, so after update, we'll do if speed underscore power up equal true, player underscore speed is 10. Do not type this down. You guys don't have to type this down. Just watch. Just pay attention. And then what I would do is down here is instead of plus or minus 5, I'd make this player underscore speed. You guys tracking with me?
Yep.
And then just at the very beginning, I would do player underscore speed is 5. Okay, so my default speed is going to be 5. And if I never ever get the power up, what's my player speed? It's gonna stay 5. But, and we haven't coded this, so don't worry, but if my character runs into the power up, I'd put if collision speed power up is true. Does that make sense? Now, every time our game cycles through, it's going to check what's our speed power up. Is it true? Nope. Okay, we're going to skip it. And it's going to keep doing that until we run into our flower or whatever, and our speed power up becomes true. Once it's true, it changes the speed permanently, unless we do something to change it back. So if we have a timer or something like that, but that's a little bit more complicated. Lorian.
Oh yeah, how do you turn off power up after like a certain amount of time?
When we cover timers, we'll get to that. But you basically just set a timer, and if this is true, you have power up timer minus equal 1. So it subtracts 1 from it every time, and then later you have if power up timer is less than or equal to 0, player underscore speed. Oh no, you change that back to 5.
Oh.
Or you could do speed power up is false, that whatever. But no, you couldn't do that, because if it's false, you'd have to have another thing like this. You'd have to have elif or else, right? Because these two are in a block. Else speed player underscore is 5. And then you just have another set of if statements. This is why I had a student ask me in the previous class, why do I put so many spaces between things? It's so that my brain is organized. This has to deal with the speed power up, and then I have a few more down, and then I have something else. So I do spaces just so it's easier for me to segment my code, and I can find issues more. You can also do this same logic for levels, right? So if level 1 is 1, oh no, actually you can do if level is 1 and screen.blit level 1 at 0, 0. Does this make sense to you guys? If I have an image that the art department's made and it's exactly 640 by 40, it's the exact background I need, and that's my level 1 background, it's going to blit it just like this. It's going to fill the whole screen. Because if I have a 640 by 480 image blitted on a 640 by 480 screen, what happens? It fits perfectly. Yep. So that's why it's at 0, 0. Then I have elif level equal 2. You do the same thing, except level 2, etc., etc. Right? I'm gonna keep going. Feel like I'm starting to lose you guys. You guys with me, or do you guys want me? Yes.
For different levels and for the levels that are like in difficulty, can you just copy and paste what you have in one level and you just add stuff to it?
That's it. Essentially, yeah. I was gonna get to that. So way to think ahead. So if level equals whatever, let me get to that. Hang on. So you got ahead of me. Okay. So now, how do you determine when you get to the next level? Someone just yell something out.
Go to the portal.
XP or score, or you go to a portal. So if XP equal 10, right? You've killed 10 guys. Level is 2. Now on level 2, you have to get to a certain point and have a high score. So you could have if XP is greater or equal to 25 and player underscore X equally is greater than, I'm making it like 600 or whatever. He has to get to the right side of the screen. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. Level equal 3. Now on level 3, not only does the look change, but bad guy health is now 5. And before it was 1 or whatever you decide. And our player speed equals, it's going to be half of whatever it was. So I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's at 5 or 10 right now, because if he has the power up, I don't know. So I'm going to do players speed is player speed divided by 2. So now he's moving half as fast, whatever he was moving before. Yes?
Did you design the power up that's going to double the player's speed, or did you just say add 5 to it?
I just made it 10.
Okay.
You could go through and go, I want it to be 50.
Okay.
So this is why you want to have variables as often as possible, because for me to change the speed, I went to one spot, done. Every other place, it's used by name, not by number. So that's why you do it this way as opposed to player speed is 5. Do you guys get this? If you understand this sort of, every time it loops through, it checks something, and this is how you change levels, this is how you change bad guys, this is how, if health is less than 50, or 0.5 times health, right? So if health currently is less than actually let's just do less than 50. Player image, we change what our player looks like. Player is pygame.image.load, and I'm just gonna put hurt good guy.png. Once you get below 50% health, instead of having a bunny that's running around all like this, you get a bunny with one ear down, he's bleeding a little bit, and he looks hurt, right? So you can do that sort of thing. You just have these if statements that check and see, is a certain condition met? Yes? Okay, then if that's met, we are changing a value. We're changing something up here because these are our default images and default everything. You guys tracking with me? If you get this, if you're like, this makes total sense, your final will be decently easy. This is the thing that a lot of students, maybe I haven't explained it well in the past, I haven't put such an emphasis on it, but I feel like students don't see it as this easy and they'd make it a little harder. So the only thing we're missing from here is the interactions between the player and the bad guy, and once you have that, you can say, you can decrease health, you can increase score, that sort of stuff.
Comment that out, but leave it in there so we.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
That's going to be really helpful when we start our game.
Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna. There you go. Okay, so last thing we need to do is if we have the code for him going up, what do we need?
We'll go from down.
What do you think we need to do?
Same thing, but.
We're going to be efficient, so we're going to copy and paste. Now this is an elif, and I'll show you the difference between an. I'll tell you the difference, then I can show you if we run out of time. If these are both if you hold up and down at the same time, your character doesn't move. Anyone have any idea why?
Because you don't have any diagonal movement, right?
Nope. This is both up and down. So if I hold up and down at the same time, my character doesn't move.
Because they cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out. I'm adding 5, then taking away 5, and then adding 5, then taking away 5, adding 5, taking away 5. So if you have an elif, it will pick which one. So if I hold up and then hold down, I'll be going up. I'll hit down. I'll start going down. It's one or the other. It's whichever one is pushed last. And so then we're going to have player Y. So this is going to be player down is true. Player plus equal player speed.
You had it as 5 for us. We were just saying player speed.
Oh yeah, I'm going to. Thank you.
Isn't it player X as well when you go down? Or is it still player Y?
It's player Y.
Oh, okay.
And then what do you think I'm going to do?
Left and right, positive and negative.
And so what do you think I'm going to do? Am I going to type all that out again?
No,
Copy and paste, man. And ladies. Movement right and left. And then all I do is so this is player. So if I want to move left, so I need player left equal true. If I'm going to the left, is X increasing or decreasing?
Decreasing.
Yep, so that's X minus equal 5. And if I'm going to the right, X is positive. Now, if you run it, you still won't see something. You still won't see a change.
Do you have to like update the image or something, or
Ooh.
we'll update to whatever coordinates?
Well, where? Oh, you got something to add?
Well, I think I know how you do that.
Okay. What do you think it is, Lorian?
I kind of think instead of setting a coordinate, it'll input the speed, and then you have to update the image like every like 10th of a second or something for it to start moving across the screen. So it'll update to
Yes.
those coordinates.
Our coordinates are already updating. Our problem, and the reason we can prove that, anytime you guys run into an issue, print the variable you're having an issue with. So I want to see, is it even registering that my character should be moving? Right, so print player X and player Y. So I bring this over here, it's loading. Alright, so my character, okay, so it's increasing. The coordinates for my player are changing. My image isn't changing. So the background, the back end stuff is working, the front end stuff is not. Can someone think of why? Luke.
Because the screen dot left is just a set of coordinates instead of player X and player Y.
No matter what we do with our player will always be blitzed at 100, 100. So Anna, what do you think this needs to be? Shh, you're not Anna.
Yes. I don't know.
Well, this is going to be the player's position. So what variable have we been changing every time we want him to move? I think you're saying the right thing, I just can't hear you. Y and X? Yeah, you're right. But what's the actual variable name? I'll give you a little hint. This is the starting position. And so we change the X and Y of the player. So what do you think needs to be here? Player underscore X. So then what's here? Now when you run the code, if it loads, you can do it. Come on. Okay, it's not running. There we go. So now we have our image. And again, our coordinates are over here, but as I move, my character actually moves. So what I want you guys to notice, look how slow my character is moving.
Can't you increase the speed?
I-
Because you're running all of those numbers.
It's because I'm printing this. So as soon as I get rid of this, now watch how quickly he runs. Marginally faster.
Mine's
I'm also
60.
Well, I'm also zooming and recording and maybe even uploading to YouTube still. So your guys' should run a little faster. And when I used to do this on the Surface 3s when the teacher had Surface Pro 4s, you guys would code it so that it would be fast on your machine, but my had a bit better processor. So your character would fly across the screen. It'd be like 3 times as fast as yours. So there were times I would go into the code, change the student's speed, the guy's speed, so that I could actually grade it. That happened once or twice. So, but we have pretty similar stuff now, so I don't think that'll be an issue. Yes, Asher.
When I run what I have, it says there's no error, like it works, but it says like if you make the variable for an image like if you have a variable for the image location and it like moves, it has to be an int and like it's gonna be enforced in the next version of Python or something.
Oh, then yeah, you just do.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Yeah, you just make sure this is an int.
Oh.
However, everything we do should be. You must multiply or have a float somewhere. But yeah, you just make sure that that is always an integer.
I was messing around with the speed and I made it like
Oh yeah, if you do
0.5
two.
so then it was on like a weird pixel.
Yeah, don't do that. So yeah, that's it for the day. If your code, does everyone's code work?
Yeah.
Okay, if not, the homework for the weekend is to get it to work. This code is online, saved as is now. I'll also sit here and I'd be happy to help anyone who has issues. So the only people who I didn't hear from were like 3 or 4 of you. So Cole, you good?
Yeah, Asha, could you scroll down to the if key down and key up?
Yep.
Oh, that's what I'm supposed to.
And again, if this is not indented, right? So if you coded it and it looks like that with the if statements all the way to the left, your character will not move. Right? No movement. And if it is indented twice, you'll only move when a key is down, like you'll only move when certain.
What if you started moving instantly?
See, it's like it only moves. I have to hit the button. If I push and hold, he doesn't move. It's only when I pushed a button down. So this section has to be only one indent in. Otherwise, it won't work. Lauren, did you have a question?
Is there a way for us to make like a loop where once you hit the top area of the screen, it automatically makes you go to the next, like it just scrolls through in a loop?
Yep, you would do something like this, and you would have if the player X or Y position is greater than the width, send them to 0. You would say just send them to the opposite side of the screen. Or you could have it stop. So if it becomes greater, if the X position is greater than the width, make the X position the width. Okay, so that is it. Yeah, so again, your homework is to just get this working. Also, you guys have until Monday again. anyone who has zero, although, oh, Luke, I need to talk to you. If you have a 0 on an assignment, that means I do not have the file from you. So you need to upload the file by Monday so that I can grade it Tuesday.
I'm almost done here.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to single anyone out. Just if you guys have zeros, you either need to get those in by Monday, or if you have an extenuating circumstance or anything, need to talk to me. So, and your homework for the weekend is to get this code working for Make sure it's working good for Monday.
And we have to do the fill out the Word doc.
If you haven't finished the Word doc, yeah, I do need that because that is now no longer just this class is depending on that. We have an entire whole department of people waiting to work on that because I don't know how Mr. McCallum's going to split it all up. All right, you guys are good to go. Have a great weekend. Adios. All right, who's got questions?